Born to Annoy, A Dawning of Awareness. Chapter 6. A New Beginning. 7 Romford Avenue, off Naismith Avenue, on the far eastern edge of the Lancashire town of Denton, was my new home. A semi-detached house with large bay windows, a small well-tended garden at the front, and a large one along the side and back. Dolly and Beatty had moved from Hazelgrove since Grandad's death, although Beatty still ran a baby linen shop. This business was now located in premises on Cross Street, in the Manchester township of Gorton, where the family had moved to sometime during the 1930s from Moberley, although the Cowles had been a Manchester family since the 1780s. I was to discover later we were descended from migrants, as are the majority of Manchester's citizens, in our case from Ireland, although our surname is neither Irish nor English, but Manx. Dolly had also changed her place of employment, and was now employed in the accounts department of Macvitie and Price at their biscuit factory on Wellington Road North in Eaton Chapel, Stockport, close to that town's border with Manchester. On the first Sunday morning after we breakfasted on bacon and eggs and toast and Robertson's Golden Shred, Dolly took me by the hand and said she had something to show me. We walked down Romford Avenue and turned left onto Naismith Avenue. Within the space of 2 houses, the street ended at a barbed wire fence. "Right," Dolly said, "this is your new playground. Don't go over there." She pointed ahead and slightly to the left. "That's where the farmer lives. You don't want him chasing you. Stick to this path and carry on downhill. It leads to the River Tame. Don't chase the cows. Don't fall in the river. Don't do any damage. Don't take sweets off strangers, and you'll be all right." I looked at her, not quite believing my ears. She laughed and lifted the top strand of barbed wire. "Go on, Malc. Dinner's at 1. Make sure you're not late, or you'll be going hungry. Beatty gets very annoyed with people who aren't punctual." This was my first introduction to a landscape which I would soon learn to love, and every single and varied nook and cranny of which I would quickly become familiar with. It was also a clear indication even to my young and still largely unformed mind that Aunty Dolly would allow me maximum freedom within a clearly defined set of rules, which she expected me to stick to, and the first of those rules was that I mustn't be late in for dinner. But how was I to know when it was approaching 1 o'clock? I had no means of knowing, except I might feel hungry by then. I decided to find the river, and then decide what to do. I shouldn't have worried. Well before the appointed time, I heard a voice. "Malcolm, Malcolm, where are you?" I looked up from whatever I was doing. It was Aunty Beatty, silhouetted at the top of the hill in front of a line of trees. I panicked, thinking I was late and she'd be angry. I shouted to her and began running, climbing the hill, eventually arriving next to her, breathless. "Come on," she said. "Dinner's almost ready. Dolly can't abide people being late." We walked back home together. I felt incredibly happy. Whilst I'd had forebodings and misgivings about my aunt's intention to take me in hand, I'd now discovered the new surroundings in which I found myself couldn't have been better. Once more I found myself on the edge of open fields, but this time with the advantage of a river close at hand and a small oxbow lake, known to locals as the Giant's Footprint. There was even a canal not too far away, although it would be some time before I discovered it. After dinner, Dolly told me that I'd be going to school in a place named Gorton from now on. "You can travel in with Beatty," she told me, "and when you've finished in the afternoon you can go to Beatty's shop, and then travel on with her when she closes." It turned out that both Beatty and Dolly knew some of the teachers at Old Drive Junior School, and they had close friends in the area, some of whom they'd known since childhood. Although Denton wasn't part of Manchester, and came under the Lancashire County Education Authority. Because Beattie was a Manchester ratepayer, I could attend the Manchester school. Arrangements had been made for me to take my place there at the beginning of the new term. Once again, it seemed, I had an extended summer break. That afternoon I was told I could go and play in the fields once more, with strict instructions to be home by 5. I kept to the instructions and returned about 4:30. After tea, Dolly told me there were adventure books in the bookcase if I wanted to read. I don't read books, I informed her. You don't read books? Why ever not? I don't know, I retorted with a shrug. But you can read, surely. Grandad was teaching you. I didn't reply. The fact was I wasn't very good at reading. In fact, I had no interest in either reading or writing. Dolly and Beattie exchanged glances, and then Dolly went to the bookcase and pulled out a book. Come and sit with me, she said softly, sitting down on the sofa. It didn't take her long to work out I'd lost the will to read. You must learn to read, Malc. Knowledge is power, and books are the source of knowledge. That was the first overtly political statement I ever remember hearing anyone make, and it was said in such a way that I could understand, and I took notice. From that moment on, Dolly spent at least half an hour every evening encouraging me to read and write, until she was sure I was up to standard according to my age, and every night, without fail, she read a chapter of some adventure book to me before I went to sleep. For me, although I didn't really know it at that time, it was the first tentative beginning of a love affair with the world of books, and with Aunty Dolly.